7:30. We've already set sail. We're on a broad reach to Montauk. It's about 17 miles away. I'm guessing that's going to take maybe 6 or 7 hours, and hopefully we'll get a chance to go to shore. It's supposed to be partly sunny today. I'd say it's blowing around 15. Was a challenge getting the sails up, but now that I'm under sail, everything should be pretty easy. So we'll talk to you soon. We made it to the anchorage. It's enormous. I got as close as I really could to downtown. Right about there, beyond that little causeway, is most of the stuff that I saw on my way in. Restaurants, marinas. I'm sure there's other stuff. I am tempted to beach my little dinghy on that little slice of beach right there and hide it in a bush or something and go check out downtown, but I'm kind of exhausted, so I'll let you know if that happens. We're finally leaving Montauk. As you can see, it's pretty windy, but the forecast says that it's going to calm down a little bit. And it's within the range that I'm comfortable with. Gusts are a little bit heavy. Gusts at like 20, but it's not that bad. And 15 is good. That's the average. Going to New Haven today because it was the only in-between spot I could find to get right to the edge of the channel going into the East River called Hell's Gate. So we're gonna go to New Haven today and hopefully Lloyd Harbor the next day, and then we're gonna try to make that passage through New York Harbor, which should be really thrilling, and I hope you tune in for that. Anyway, I'll keep you posted about today's events. So I'm on my way to either Mount Sinai, Port Jefferson, or potentially New Haven, depending on the wind when I have to round this corner. You can see it's starting to get a little bit chilly out here, so I need to keep up my pace if I intend to outrun winter, which is coming. So anyway, hopefully we make it through this tough section and take the channel through New York where it's more protected, because I understand that this weekend's gonna be high wind, which means high seas. So we'll see what happens. So Gloucester to Plymouth didn't quite work out. It would have been a long upwind battle. So when it started to get mid-afternoon, I made the decision to go to Boston Harbor, having remembered that there were free moorings at Spectacle Island. Managed to get there just as the sun was going down and got a free mooring. It was beautiful, beautiful skyline. I really thought it was a great place. Unfortunately, started to rain that evening and all through the next day with high winds. So spent one day not sailing and basically just hunkering down inside my small cabin. So that wasn't that much fun. And then the next day I woke up and it was clear, but it was high winds. But luckily at this point, the winds were directly behind me. So with a broad reach almost the whole way, I was able to get to Plymouth Harbor, which was a relief. A very shallow harbor, however, and a long way in, about 3 miles in. And the only mooring field was so far from shore that I couldn't row there with my skiff. So I ended up staying on a mooring, which was an expense I wasn't pleased about. But I got there and I got to take a shower and there was ice, and I went and looked around Plymouth a little bit and saw the Mayflower, and went and looked at Plymouth Rock and, you know, just toured some of the shops. The next day, however, the weather report underestimated the wind, and I made it all the way to the outer harbor to find out that I could not handle that wind, and specifically that high sea state. I was basically not even moving, and I got to the point where if I go any further, I'm not going to be able to turn back. So did a quick turnaround, powered through the wind. That was the only way to get through the wind. Back and spent another night on the mooring. So that was unexpected, but spent the whole day. That was the day I really just walked around Plymouth all day long, and then was able to take off the next day. But the good news was I got some advice from the two guys who were working at the yacht club that said, why are you going out to Provincetown? There's no reason to go there because you do not want to go on the outside. And it was my understanding that my boat was too small for the canal, Cape Cod Canal, but they gave me the precise time to go through. And although it was 10 miles, it took about 3 hours. It was actually very pleasant. So, and then right at the end of the canal, you end up in Onset, where lots of people stop off, plenty of moorings. I was in good company. Stop off after they get out of the canal. So that was day 4. Then I went to, the next stop was Block Island. No, sorry. Next stop was Newport, which is another place that I've been before. And I knew Newport Harbor. I knew Newport Harbor, and I knew that it had tons of boats, tons of expensive yachts, and kind of a difficult place to come ashore. But I didn't realize how many anchorages they have there. Anchorages everywhere near St. Ida's Yacht Club. Like, I would say I saw 50 boats on anchor. And although the public tie-off called Stone Pier was not very close to town, it got me close enough to some amenities, convenience store, where I could get some provisions because I was running low. But that was the night we had a little storm come through, and there's some video of that storm, at least the Doppler of that storm. So I did shift a little bit in my anchor, made me very uncomfortable, which led to the decision for me buying a bigger, what's called a Delta anchor, which is a little bit more stable. But I got up early in the morning and took off for Block Island. It was an uneventful trip. Again, mostly downwind. Block Island was beautiful, but once I got in, I realized again the anchorage was far enough away that I was just too exhausted to go into town. So we spent the night in that beautiful place, and then ended up taking off right from there to Montauk, which was again another gorgeous harbor, but a little bit exclusive, hard to go ashore. I did manage to get a tie-up for free, but that's because they were being nice, and had to leave my boat in Lake Montauk because I needed to come back to Huntington to connect with my family and return to Massachusetts for a doctor's appointment that I had to do before I leave. So I got a head start on my trip, but now I need to take a couple of days to go back to Massachusetts. But if you look behind me, you can see I wouldn't want to be sailing today or yesterday, because right now we're looking at Huntington Bay, which isn't even the Long Island Sound. And you see those white caps, or maybe you can't see them. That's an indication of small craft advisory. And with Hurricane Fiona, or at least the aftermath, we'll be seeing a lot of high seas. So I'm happy to be here for a little while with my family, taking it easy, but I'm eager to get back out on the water and back to my trip.